The Copa America.
What is going on here? People are getting into the Copa America through the ventilation system? What is going on here? What the heck?
Showed serious failures. By CONMEBOL, who runs the competition.
Incidentes acá, incidentes, no nos dejan grabar, la organización incidentes. Es un caos lo que se está viviendo.
And police brutality took place. The scene's beyond scary, with fan congestion taking place. Then there were reports of fans who did not have tickets occupying the seats of those who paid for them. Security were overwhelmed and allegedly told these folks there was nothing that they could possibly do about it. Throughout the match, slowly but surely, police would go section by section and escort fans who did not have tickets out. However, let's be clear, this was all avoidable. Yet the media reaction by one of the biggest cheerleaders.
This is not a good look. I understand this is not a good look for CONMEBOL. Yes. This is also, because it is happening on our watch, correct, in our country, not a good look for the U.S. 2 years, less than 2 years out of the World Cup. I have no doubt that FIFA and the United States and Canada and Mexico will sort this out and make sure that this doesn't happen going forward. But I think it also shows that don't let anybody tell you that America is not a soccer nation. Don't let anybody tell you that the United States does not have an incredible history and doesn't have fans out there.
Certainly said a lot. Let's just pause here if we can, okay? We are talking about scenes that remind us of Hillsborough. We are talking about scenes that remind us of the Champions League final in Paris, France. And yet the pivot is disgusting to me, because we know what we are getting with this crew, mainly with Alexi Lalas. We know it is all about the red, white, and blue, man. American exceptionalism. No one does it better than us. How could anybody be better than us? Not the time. Respectfully, not the time. And we know it is a driving force for him continually being employed, is that nobody is better at anything at any point in time than the United States, according to him. But was this the moment to do that? I mean, we see the scenes. Fans were hurt I saw what looked like a lifeless body being carried out on all fours. I saw kids screaming for parents, parents screaming for kids, people holding their heads because of either the psychological or physical damage. Lots of blood. But yeah, we can't fail. We're America. We're great. How? It's nauseating, but there's more.
There are millions of soccer fans, and they are going to either come from other places here and join the millions that exist, or, like I said, the ones that are already here. I think this shows that there are many home teams when it comes to the U.S., but there is a fervor and there is a passion for this game and for these tournaments that is going to be on display for the next 2 years and is going to culminate in what I think is going to be the most important and biggest summer of soccer when it comes to the summer of 2026.
There is so much to take in here. I'll leave it to The Guardian's Aaron Timms, who had a write-up of Lawless last week. He predictably has been at the heart of Fox's slickest on-screen moves this summer, and despite a slow start, in which it appeared he'd been deployed as a clown, a pure American idiot to entertain the Europeans on set, he's grown into the summer impressively, ponying up in a pastel suit of summer suits from Men's Warehouse, his thinning orange locks swept into a Trumpy scroll. The Big A has commanded the desk from his far-right perch with customary charmlessness and belligerence. In a tournament filled with creative moments of the half sponsored by IBM, Lawless often appears to be sponsored by IBS, launching into his uncontrollable verbal tirades. Holy shit, this is the new romantic way to play, my friend. VAR says 9 with the projectile force of a bout of diarrhea. As Lawless has asserted himself over his on-air colleagues, Fox's panels have suffered, with Daniel Sturridge essentially not getting enough out of him. Schmeichel trudging through his lines like a disappointed dad, while Lawless sits poised at the end of the panel ready to land his zingers in power rankings. They would also note the dead air that is taking place. Lawless is a man who would power rank his own farts if given the opportunity, and the way things are going on Fox, he probably will come 2026. There could be no real improvement in the coverage of soccer in this country as long as this man continues to have a job. Away from the commentary team lies the blame. It's CONMEBOL, the governing body of South American soccer that organizes the Copa. I have to make it clear, though, this is a venue that hosts the Miami Dolphins, that hosts Taylor Swift concerts, college football playoff games, and even the Super Bowl. It didn't just so happen that overnight the venue decided, we don't know how to do this. It is CONMEBOL. It is the organizers that should be blamed. One thing that went through my mind as I've been to various sporting events, championships over the years, was the security measures or lack thereof. And that is prior to getting to the gate. One user even shared their experience at a Liga MX match. We had to go through 3 security and ticket checks and present a fan ID to even get to my seat, and that was for a regular season match. Reports indicate that did not take place. World Soccer Talk would ask this: where were the checkpoint perimeters around the stadium to make sure only ticketed fans were allowed near the gates? CONMEBOL must bear responsibility for allowing the ticketless fans near the stadium. With all of these fans rushing in, it presented another issue, as Fabian wrote. If they're not checking for tickets, they're not checking for weapons. This creates an extremely dangerous situation. And the stadium will be over capacity with all those who snuck in. Then there were stories such as this, coming from Argentina's own players. Alexis McAllister, a midfielder for the national team and a member of Liverpool, was equally concerned for the safety of his family. Rather than preparing for the match, he sought out his family to ensure they escaped the madness outside of the stadium. He waited in the tunnel to help get them into the ground before kickoff. His mother described the situation outside the stadium as, quote, inhumane. That is what CONMEBOL has done. Another variable was the lack of security. I mean, CONMEBOL said after the Uruguay-Colombia fight in the stands that they are not going to be increasing security. And then you had the events take place in Miami. It's a failure. Via goal.com, the chaos ahead of the final was the culmination of a series of issues throughout the 32-match tournament, from complaints about the playing surfaces to criticisms of officials and concerns about player safety. All of it added up to a recipe for disaster for this tournament. This has been a seminal moment for soccer in the States. This is effectively a launch pad for the World Cup in 2026, the dress rehearsal. And while there have been some points of excitement, good soccer, passionate fans, it has been ultimately marred by questionable decisions and terrible mismanagement. I concur. ESPN's Lizzie Beccherano gave a take on how to change this trend so it doesn't happen again. FIFA must first address the lack of in-stadium organization seen throughout the Copa America tournament. The incidents between Uruguay and Colombia, as well as with fans forcing their way into the final and overcrowding the stadium, stand out as the most visible example, but on several occasions, teams were left unprotected behind the scenes. There is so much to learn. More importantly, change must happen prior to the World Cup being here. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.